Welcome in to Around the Felt. We're back. We're predicting the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. We're going to be breaking down how we think they're going to do in 2025 with their brand new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. My name's Reagan. I'm here with my co-host, Colin, and we're ready to talk Pittsburgh Steelers. Colin, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing well, Reagan. I feel bad. I'm in a good mood, but I got to talk so poorly on these Pittsburgh Steelers heading into 2025.
Yeah, it's tough for me, man, because I've never had an issue with the Steelers. I actually went to the Steelers Jets game last year, and the fans were super nice. So, it pains me. It's just like hard because it's like, do I want to see Rodgers succeed there after he sucked for the Jets? Because that kind of hurts too. But I don't know, man. It's definitely going to be interesting. I am curious what Steelers fans even think about the Rodgers thing. So if you are a Steelers fan listening, just please comment like your thoughts on Rodgers. Are you happy or pissed? Because I don't know. I haven't talked to many of them yet to hear their thoughts.
Yeah, would love to hear it too, but let's get into this a little bit here, Reagan, and start talking about Aaron Rodgers. So the win total for the Steelers this year is set at 8.5. So it's the age-old question: is this finally the year that they have a losing record under Mike Tomlin? It has been 18 straight seasons with a winning record, which is crazy. In the last 4 years, they've won 9, 9, 10, and 10 games. And throughout that stretch, their offense has just been brutal, but they still have won 10 games in each of the last 2 seasons. But when you look at their offense compared to others around the league, like the average win total of all those teams is like between 5 and 7, and somehow the Steelers just win games. It's the Mike Tomlin special. But, when you look at this team, man, they do have some pretty significant adds. Of course, Aaron Rodgers, their new quarterback. DK Metcalf, they traded for him, gave him 4-year, $120 million deal. Malik Harrison, Jaylen Ramsey, the big trade with Mika Fitzpatrick involved, which shocked the whole NFL world just recently. And they added Darius Slay. So some big names added, but they do have a lot of losses. Dan Moore Jr., their left tackle, went to Tennessee, got a bag there, which I think Tennessee overpaid for his services, to be honest with you Steelers fans. Both quarterbacks, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, are gone. James Daniels, your guard, gone to Miami. Dante Jackson, Najee Harris to the Chargers. Maybe it's a good thing he's out of the picture now, though, perhaps. George Pickens, now with the Cowboys. And, of course, Mika Fitzpatrick in the swap for Jaylen Ramsey. So, Reagan, let me ask you, is this the year the Pittsburgh Steelers finally have a losing record under Mike Tomlin?
Not to change the subject, but did you hear about Najee Harris? Like, what the hell was all that about? They were saying like I heard so many different stories about what happened to him on 4th of July, like fireworks like blew up in his face and stuff. I mean, the Chargers have since come out and said he's going to be fine, but
I didn't even see that.
For the season.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there was like a bunch of different like stuff I saw on Twitter about like what actually happened to him, and there wasn't a whole lot on it, and just all the Twitter doctors out there. But it sounds like he'll be all right. But there was a firework related incident that I did see the team reported.
That's scary.
But we're here to talk about the Steelers. I finally have them losing that streak. I have them going 8-9. Ultimately, it came down to the fact that we know the defense is going to be sick, but I don't think at this point this variation of Aaron Rodgers is good enough to really will this team anything farther than that, because I think the AFC is only getting better and better every year. The defense is going to carry them, but, there's just not a whole lot of weapons there either. Like, I don't know how the run game will be. I am excited for Caleb Johnson, but, I mean, who knows? And a lot of this hate and animosity towards that offense is just because I saw Rodgers last year with, like, I feel like a better roster on paper not be able to do it. He does have DK Metcalf, love that, but Calvin Austin or Robert Woods at the number 2 wide receiver, like, don't love that. You can argue who you think will be better. I mean, it would be nice to see Roman Wilson get a shot, but I don't know if he's anything special at this point. I mean, you got to think that if he's not panning out, that means he probably just isn't good, because they have such a good track record of developing those day 2 and day 3 wide receivers. I do like that they got Jonnu Smith, I will say. I think they're going to use him in a lot of creative ways, because they still have Freiermuth, obviously, and I think they're going to use Jonnu more as like a receiver type of time. So that probably will be their number 2 target, I would guess. And yeah, I mean, the defense is going to be sick. I do like how they got Ramsey as well. It sounds like, you know, at this point, Mika was just struggling and not what he once was and didn't really want to be there. So, and honestly, looking at Ramsey and Slay, I mean, you tell me that 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be like, shit, they got the best duo in the league.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
But I do like their secondary. And obviously, Peyton Wilson was a nice pick last year and Patrick Queen. Like the linebackers are good. TJ Watt's going to do his thing. And then like Cam Hayward's still moving along and chugging even in his late 30s. He's still a beast. But what about you? Where did you kind of land on the Steelers?
Just a tick below you. I got 7-10 for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Very, very similar reasons that you had. And I just touched on how their offense has been so bad the past 2 years. They should have been a way worse team. Just to highlight some of the anomalies that they've gone through the last 2 years, they're 15-6 in one-score games. That's insane. And it's hard to keep that up year over year. They also had a plus 16 turnover margin last year after plus 11 in 2023. Another thing with fumbles, like you don't know where the ball's going to bounce. Like it's another thing that changes year over year. But winning football teams usually on the right side of those statistics. I don't think they're going to keep that up in 2025. And I love what you said, what we saw from Rodgers last year, which if you just looked at his stats, you'd be like, oh, 3,900 yards, 28 touchdowns. Like, that's a good year. But when you actually, like, watch the games and look at it at a deeper level, like, Rodgers was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league last year, and he's already changed his play style a ton since the Achilles. Like, he tries to avoid hits. He's getting the ball out quicker. He's not threading the middle of the field as much as he used to when he was younger, and it's more like a lot of checkdowns, which, I mean, he's going to throw the ball down the flat. He's going to throw a bunch of hitches, and it's like, all right, like the counting stats look fine, but on a deeper level, he's not the same player. And when you look at this Pittsburgh offensive line, which is very young and unproven right now, it's worse than what it was with the Jets last year. And he really struggled with getting sacked. Like different ways from a Caleb Williams, which is running around holding the ball too long. But like the dude can't move, he's a statue. So he gets sacked a lot. When you have Broderick Jones, who is 76th amongst all tackles in pressure rate last year at left tackle, third year out of Georgia. You got Troy Fautanu, the right tackle out of Washington, who missed all but one game last year in his rookie year. So your two tackles, very young and unproven, with a quarterback that's a statue at 41 years old. That's a problem. The only guy I'm really
just said there.
Huh?
I said, sounds like a great recipe right there on the
right?
Tackles.
The only offensive lineman I'm really confident about going into the season is Zach Frazier, their center, who's really good. He's really good. So besides him, though, like not good across the entire line. So what? And when you look at the weapons, like, yeah, I love DK Metcalf, but I think Garrett Wilson's on his tier. You don't have the running backs that you do in New York with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. Although I do like Caleb Johnson, I think that's a good pick. And Najee and Jaylen Warren is solid. This offense is just way worse. This offense is garbage. It's one of the worst offenses in football on paper, in my opinion. So to have an old quarterback like Rodgers at 41, where he's giving me no reason to think that they're going to get to double-digit wins again. They also have the 9th most difficult schedule and the most difficult from week 7 on. So if the Steelers start off around 500, I think the wheels could fall off. And honestly, if the wheels do fall off, everyone's just going to blame Rodgers, and Tomlin's going to like sneak out of there with that. Like,
I was going to say, do you think if they miss the playoffs and don't have a winning season, is he done?
That's the thing. It's like, it's crazy because it's like, what is your ultimate goal? Because you don't want to be a team that's like not making the playoffs, but also like you don't want to be a one and done every year. They have won AFC North title in the last 7 years, dude. Like that is not what Steelers football is about. They have 6 Super Bowl rings for a reason. That's what they care about. And they're also 3-8 in the playoffs since 2014. So at what point, and we talked about this before the draft and we did the recap, we brought Vayner on, right? Like at what point is it enough? I think if they fail miserably, Rodgers would be the scapegoat and Tomlin will come back for another year. But at some point, they got to figure out their long-term solution at quarterback.
I'm honestly curious. I would say, like, even their fan base is probably pretty split down the middle, like right around 500 about like who wants to keep him and who wants to fire him. Like, in true Pittsburgh Steeler fashion over the past couple of years. I would say fire him at this point. If this doesn't work out, it's just like, what are you doing at this point? Because you'd imagine if they have a bad year, it doesn't work out. Like, they're still going to need to address the quarterback next year. Rodgers has already said this is his last year. And I would imagine if it's not a great year, like, he wouldn't come back anyway. Like, I don't know. And then do you want to just draft a quarterback in 15 range, 10, 15, 20 range?
Well, yeah. I mean, we
with
both
Tomlin, I'd rather just have a fresh reset at that point.
Yeah, that's the question too. Is then do you give Tomlin the power to select that quarterback? But the thing is,
like, with Kenny Pickett,
we both see the Steelers being kind of in that 15-ish range in the draft, which is now you can find a quarterback there, but it's difficult. You'd love to be higher up, but I think they're gonna inevitably have to move up in the draft next year and maybe give up their 2027 first to move up to try to get one of those guys. And I don't see this team making the playoffs. It just seems like they're going to be stuck in the middle again. And it's not like they've done any damage in the playoffs the last 3 years they've gone, They're just one and dones.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Cause I would take that shit in a heartbeat. Like, I really would take that shit in a heartbeat. But, obviously, as a Jet fan, and I think a lot of fan bases out there would take making the playoffs consistently. But I think at this point, it's just been too long, too many times of just one and dones and not getting it done.
It's like their last Super Bowl win was 2008. So it's like, at what point does a winning season just not matter anymore or buy you more time? Like, you got to get back to the promised land.
It's just funny, the different feelings in franchises. There's so many franchises that would love that, and then a team like the Steelers who just has so many Super Bowls. It's like, this is not this is actually a failure.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get to talk about the defense too, because I'm just so down on the offense. But yeah, as you mentioned, the defense is sick. Watt, Highsmith, Hayward. You add Derek Harmon in the first round. That defensive line will be elite. I mean, Highsmith missed 6 games last year, but he still was atop the league, up in that top 5 range in pressure rate. So very underrated player. Of course, Watt's one of the best, right? So secondary, I like Joey Porter Jr. He struggled a little bit early on, but he's still only allowed 1 touchdown in 2 years, so he's finding his footing. Of course, Ramsey's a beast. Slay should be an upgrade opposite of Porter, but he is old, so we'll see how much more tread on the tires he has. And they did bring in Juan Thornhill, which seemed odd because they had Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott, who's solid last year, but now Thornhill steps right into that spot left by Fitzpatrick. So, I mean, you look at his defense, it's certainly elite, very good. But at the end of the day, I think the offense is going to be too bad for them to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're in agreement on that. But I am excited for Caleb Johnson. Definitely,
yes,
I would target in fantasy. And Jonnu Smith, too. I think he's going to be pretty solid for fantasy as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jonnu Smith and an Arthur Smith offense, that sounds like a guy who's going to get drafted 15th out of tight ends and end up being pretty good. The problem is...
Well, he also was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee.
Yes, and Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, and Atlanta.
Yeah, so he keeps following him around, right? So Jonnu Smith, this is awesome for him, even though he was pretty solid in Miami last year. But now really it's solid. Now you got Firework there, and this whole offense kind of sucks compared to Miami's. But then again, he ends back with Arthur Smith. So I don't know. I think he's a similar tier than what he was on Miami. I don't know if it's necessarily a big upgrade or downgrade.
Yeah, hard to say because the weapons aren't as good on Pittsburgh. But, we don't expect it to be as high-powered of an offense as Miami. Or at least I don't.
No, not even close. No shot. All right, Reagan. So your MVP, is it TJ Watt, or do you have a surprise for us?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with TJ Watt. Let's not go for the clicks
here.
Let's
too
just
cute. Yeah.
Who
is your X factor?
I mean, I think it's got to be Rodgers, right?
It's got to be Rodgers. Yeah, it's got to be Rodgers.
I mean, I guess you could say, maybe Caleb Johnson, lights the world on fire and has a really good rookie season as a running back and ends up being a top 10 guy, top 5 running back.
Maybe DK Metcalf, a little bit of a step back last year with only 992 yards, 5 touchdowns.
I just don't
66
think he'll get the
catches in
workload
15 games. Well, this is the thing with DK is like, I don't even know if it matters. He's going to be the clear top guy. I wouldn't be shocked if his target share is close to like 30%. Like Pickens last year, his target share was over 29%, but I mean, he wasn't really fantasy relevant. I think he was wide receiver 39 just because the offense was still so bad, even though he was getting targeted so much. They don't throw the ball a ton with Arthur Smith. They don't score a lot of points. So even if Metcalf is getting a 30% target share, like how valuable can he be? But I don't know, maybe he's an X factor if he's going to be that alpha in that offense and really take him over the top and go for 12, 13, 1,400 yards. It could elevate this offense for sure. But I don't know. I just don't see DK going for like over 1,200 yards, even though he's going to be their top guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I mean, I'd still target him in fantasy just because he's going to be, well, obviously, I don't know. I mean, I would think he'll be like probably a fourth round pick, maybe third round pick. I haven't fully looked at it.
Are you confident with him as your wide receiver too, though? If he's your wide receiver too in your fantasy lineup, are you confident with that?
Yeah, I think I am because there's not a lot of mouths to feed there, and like, I would think Rodgers is going to ultra target him. I mean, we saw what he did with Jordy Nelson, and then what he did with Devontae Adams. I think he's going to go out of his way to target him.
Okay. Who is your rookie of the year for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I was just talking about it with Caleb Johnson. I'm just super excited for what this guy can do. Jaylen Warren does not have the size and build to be a 3-down back. Like he'll definitely be involved. Very explosive, very good back. But I think Johnson will get 2/3 of the carries, 2/3 of the touches. He might not get the receiving work, unfortunately, but I think he's a guy that could go for 10 rushing touchdowns this year. If they can be better than, we're projecting him, then I think the upside could be there because he's going to be the goal line back for sure. He's the bigger guy.
I also agree with you.
I like what I saw him at Iowa. He's a beast there.
Yeah, he was a beast at Iowa. He's 225
They didn't have a high-powered offense there either.
Nope, they did not. They just ran the rock. They just ran the
rock.
rock.
Same colors, maybe similar offense.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson he had a tendency to kind of bounce outside like a ton at Iowa where he's such a big back. I'd love to see him kind of stay in between the tackles more. But to your point, yeah, he's also my pick for the rookie of the year here. I think Jaylen Warren's a solid player, but he just lacks the size, speed, explosiveness to be that 3-down guy. So they will split carries, but I mean, John and Warren will get the majority of the receiving work, but hey, Mike Tomlin even
could be good because Rodgers is going to have a lot of checkdowns. So I think both guys will be relevant for fantasy, especially in PPR leagues.
Yeah, and even after the draft, Tomlin did say in the press conference how this guy has just a bell cow type of style and build to him. So I could see him he's just going to step right into that Najee role. Even though Najee ran for 1,000 yards like every year in Pittsburgh, he wasn't really fantasy relevant since like his rookie year though. Like he was relevant, but not that top level.
Was never there.
Yeah, because Big Ben just checked it down to him a ton, and then their carousel of quarterbacks since he just didn't get the receiving work. And Depoy Watt, of course, who is a guy on the Steelers that you like a lot for fantasy football?
Yeah, I mean, I said Johnson, but I actually, for probably where he's going at, I do like Warren a lot as well. I think just going off the history of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you looked last year, Breece Hall, very relevant, but then even like Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen had a lot of relevance. And then you go back to the Packers days, it was Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It was Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Like we've seen Aaron Rodgers in most of his offenses throughout his career have multiple relevant running backs. And he hyper targets the running backs. He's not going to scramble. Like that's one thing. You don't have to worry about him scrambling. He's going to check it down a lot. So I think that's going to benefit Warren a lot. And if we do think, this offense isn't going to be able to keep up with him, that means Warren's going to be on the field a lot in these like fourth quarters where they're trailing and stuff. So I think he's definitely a very viable flex play. And even if you go wide receiver heavy, a potential RB2 for your team.
I like it. My pick was Caleb Johnson. So the other running back, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Mike Tomlin's going to want to run the football and play defense. But for Johnson to really pop for you, he's going to have to score the touchdowns. He's going to need 8 to 10 to 12 touchdowns to really be a potential league winner. But I think the path is there for him to have 200 carries at least in 2025.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think both guys are relevant, but I mean, that's all I got. You got anything else to say about these
No,
Steelers?
that's all from me, man. Hey, everyone, appreciate you tuning in. Please leave a comment. Let us know throughout the beginning of the season. We'll catch you soon on Around the Felt.
Do that again because cut out with the music. It all cut out with the music, but I think you guys get the gist. We're gonna be here all season, but let us know in the comments, like you said. All right, everybody.